Let's just get it right out of the way straight off the bat. No, this is not an Air Max 90 channel, and you could be forgiven for thinking that because lately we've done a ton of Air Max 90s. In fact, this is the 6th Air Max 90 in the last 8 videos, which is kind of a lot for a sneaker channel, not an Air Max 90 channel. But they've been so awesome. There was a couple of pairs of Corks, the Obsidian, and I can't remember what the other one was. And then there was 2 polka dot ones as well, and then the Ken Griffey Jr. one. And now we're on to these guys, the Happy Pineapples, and they're all great shoes. And then even earlier in the year, we had the Bacons sort of given that food line, that eating line to come through for the Air Max 90s. And here we are now with the Happy Pineapple. So there's a ton of them coming out. It's almost like the 30th anniversary year, which was last year. But this year, it just seems like they're all over the place. Tons of great colorways. This one for me, though, wide of the mark. Might be sort of the only person out there, maybe, don't know. There may be a lot of people out there screaming at me right now saying, hey, you don't know what you're talking about. And maybe I don't, but it's just my personal opinion. This one, it just doesn't seem like a Happy Pineapple, except for the Happy Pineapples, if you know what I'm saying. The colorway doesn't quite fit with the pineapple for me. The colors aren't deep enough. There's too much pastel going on and not enough of the rich colors that you'd get with a pineapple. We'll get into that today, looking at those different parts, but also get into the materials on these guys because they have a very, very interesting material sort of structure going on. So there's a lot to look at, things to take in and enjoy in today's video, all about the upcoming release of the Nike Air Max 90 Happy Pineapple. This is the Tokyo Bara 23 Sneaker Channel. Tokyo Bara 23 Sneaker Channel です。毎日アップするので、毎日見てください。And every single day from Tokyo, Japan, I bring you content about upcoming sneaker releases, sneaker news, and sneaker reviews. And the spotlight today, like I said, is the 6th Air Max 90 in the last 8 videos. It might even be the last 7 videos. I think the Ken Griffey Jr. and Senior Air Force Ones are the only things in there that have split this run of Air Max 90s. And that's, great looking shoes, very interesting stuff going on. The whole move to zero at Nike, where they're trying to get the lowest impact possible on the environment. And that basically comes in 2 really big ways. In the uppers, where you see upcycled threads used, flying threads especially, but then also in the outsole and midsoles as well, where you see grind rubber, replacement rubber, offcuts of rubber used, repurposed into outsoles and midsoles. So, and in the case of these guys, I'm pretty sure the outsole is a grind rubber thing, so we'll have a look at that when it comes around. And so have many of those Air Max 90s of the last week or so, also in that line. So, but the main thing about this shoe is all about that Happy Pineapple. And I'm going to go with the big features first, which are cool, and then into the not so cool features. Now, I think there's 3 things on this shoe, maybe 3.5, and you'll know what I mean when we get to the half, on this shoe that really stand out. And the first thing is that Happy Pineapple up on the tongue. So let's just go and have a look at that. Main feature on the shoe, probably the biggest selling point, to be honest, when a brand like Nike plays around with their branding in one of their standard places, the top of the tongues being one of the standard places to put branding on any shoe. And usually Air Max 90s would have, Nike Swoosh Air branding up there, for example. But today, all that's gone. It's not even overlaid or faded into the background or something. It's completely gone, replaced with a tiny little pineapple on there that's smiling away and very happy. The Happy Pineapple is very, very simple, but very, very cool. It's great when the sneaker brands do this and they play around with the tongue branding, especially. It gives a unique element there, so it's always a pretty big selling point. And then another big selling point on these guys is this mysterious number down on the toe, the lateral side of both toes, stitched in the same off-white color as the upper, is the number 94430. I did a quick bit of research and it didn't take me that long to find out that that's the code for organic, large-sized pineapples, but there seems to be a lot of mystery about that out there. A lot of the sites I went to look at, Sneaker Bar Detroit, Soul Supplier, Sneaker News, Kicks on Fire, tons of these different sites, a lot of them were like, what's this strange number on there? Anybody know? And it didn't take me more than maybe a minute to find out. 94430 is large organic pineapples, which kind of makes sense when it's a Happy Pineapple and you're doing that move to zero sort of ecological style thing, so the whole organics in there as well. But they're the 2 really main features on the shoe that sort of are unique to this shoe. But then you've got a second layer behind that, and we're talking about what's going on with the swoosh, the heel branding, and then the insoles as well. So first things first, let's go have a look at the swoosh to get a real sense of the materials that are going on here. And I ain't no materialist, if that even makes any sense. But what I read is that this material is called twill. I had no idea what twill was, and the thing is, to me, if we want to go with that food metaphor with the pineapples and the bacons, this shoe's kind of a sandwich. What I'm really talking about is not to do with the swooshes, it's to do with the materials of the upper. And beside the swoosh, you should be able to pan to the side, and hopefully it's showing up on the green screen here, and you can see the middle layer. You've got the sort of highest layer of the outer and then down onto the mud guards, but between them there's a middle layer there that's got a very structured feel about it, almost mesh, almost canvas, and I think that's twill, that kind of tight knit with sort of diagonal features in the thread of the thing. And then on either side of that, the mud guards, and for example on the toes, so if we go over and have a look at the toes, you can see it's a real smooth material. Now I don't know if it's repurposed twill or if it's suede or something else like that, but it's definitely a lot smoother. So the bread on the sandwich, high and low, is a very smooth off-white material, and between those two you've got that kind of slightly textured twill. And the reason we're sort of focused in on that twill in the middle there is because the swooshes, if we go back to them, is actually like a sort of ground up and repurposed twill, according to what I've read, and of course then faded into orange. And this is the one place on the shoe where the colorway for me is all about pineapples. It's a very rich orange, which speaks to me about very rich sort of the pineapple color feel, and it's a big yes there. And that kind of contrast between the materials as well is great to look at on the swoosh, where you've got that repurposed twill, you've got the actual sort of structured twill, and then on either side of that you've got the kind of smooth material. So it all sort of makes sense as far as the materials are concerned. But if we go back from that and have a look at the heel, this is the last place of the pluses for me, and then we'll be getting into some minuses. But the plus one here is again that same materials that you get on the swoosh are repeated on the heel here, but this time with I think it's also off-white branding on that, and the standard sort of physical shape of the heel branding panel that you usually get on Air Max 90s. And then if we keep going with that kind of line, these orange sort of organic feel materials, it's very similar to that if you go and have a look in the insole, and you see the insoles being all cork and no branding, which is kind of a surprise. I'm not surprised at the cork and the design in there, but I am surprised that there isn't some kind of branding imprinted on it, for example pineapples or Happy Pineapple or Nike branding or something like that. But basically looking down from above into these insoles, you can see cork and nothing else. And then if we flip to the outsole, it's very much the balance of that, and you can see that deep rich brown, and you can see why I'm thinking that this is probably grind rubber, some kind of recycled material, upcycled material, lower impact on the earth, zero emissions and all that kind of stuff. So so that's kind of, you know, the signature of the shoe, the browns and the oranges which fit that pineapple vibe, and the 94330 and the Happy Pineapple, all yes, but all no for me is the rest of the colorway, especially when we go up to the laces, and you can see the top eyelet panel in that sort of light teal feel, which matches the outside edge of the air unit, the arrowhead as I like to call it, for color. And then you've also got above that arrowhead air unit, you've got a window into the branding which matches the peach of the front eyelet panel. So if you look at that as one big unit, you can see front eyelet to the window, top eyelets down to the air unit, all the wrong colors. These aren't the colors of pineapple for me at all. They're very summery and rich, almost maybe more about melon or honeysuckle melon or honeydew melon or something like that, cantaloupe, that kind of feel, but definitely for me not a pineapple feel. Yes, summer, no pineapples as far as I'm concerned, and that's the big miss on these shoes, is that the color and the colorway doesn't feel like a pineapple colorway to me at all. Very summery, very tropical, but just not that the pineapple feel. But definitely the swoosh, definitely the heel branding, and the cork on the inside and on the outsole. So so that's our take, you know, a look at this shoe today. Hopefully you guys appreciate that. One thing actually about the drop date, I've seen it as late as June 17th, and I've seen it as early as already dropped in Europe. So this one's kind of a bit wide and a bit all over the place. But when I saw this shoe, it was kind of like, you know what, there's especially that branding with the Happy Pineapple up on the tongues. It's a unique thing to do, to play around with the tongue. So I'm a big yes on that, and that's why this shoe made it into the channel today. And with that being said, it's time to wrap up today's video, and I'll just finish it up for you guys saying the same thing that I say at the end of every single video, is that I do this every single day. So you are guaranteed to see me tomorrow.